Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. It's time for SmackDown. This was SmackDown from July 5th, 2013. Yes, the day right after the 4th of July. And just as on Raw, I still could not figure out what city this show came from. It was somewhere in Kansas, but I have no idea what city. The show starts, they actually do the intro of the show. And after that, just as they said on Raw, Punk was going to make an appearance. So out comes CM Punk. On his way out, they recap the whole thing between Punk and Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman and the tag team match from Raw. But after that, Punk's in the ring and he starts talking, and essentially what it boils down to is he says that I can identify a lot with what the founding fathers advocated with the whole, Declaration of Independence thing, Punk is a person who very much cherishes his independence. He doesn't want any help from anybody. He doesn't need any help. This is what he's saying, basically. He goes over that a bit, and he says that he has two goals for the future, for the near future. And the first one is to get his hands on Brock Lesnar and make him pay for the F5 from a couple of weeks ago. His other goal, he looks up, and there you can see the Money in the Bank briefcase hanging overhead. And again, it's there all night. But upon looking at this, he says, my other goal is to win the Raw Money in the Bank, the All-Stars Money in the Bank, to win it and get a shot, obviously, at the WWE title, because it's been way too long since he's held the damn title and he wants it back. And can't really blame him after he was basically screwed out of it. They made him fight The Rock. That was such a horse. Just such a load of horse shit. But anyways, so he's saying those are his two immediate goals. And after that, he's cut off by Alberto Del Rio's music. Del Rio comes out and he's talking, and he's essentially making fun of the 4th of July, making fun of the crowd, saying these people just celebrate by sitting in their homes and watching TV and getting fatter and fatter. And he basically tells Punk, this is my show. I'm the World Heavyweight Champion. This is my show. I want you to leave. And this was another part to what Punk said earlier. While he was going on and on his speech about independence, it's also another thing about him is when somebody tells him what to do, he normally does the opposite. Somebody tells him to go somewhere, he just goes in the other direction, essentially. So when Del Rio tells Punk to leave, Punk basically says, no, I'm not going to do what you say. I don't do what you say. That don't happen. So he's saying, if you want me to leave, you're going to have to make me leave. So he says, if you want me to leave, you're going to have to make me leave. And so at that, Teddy Long comes out on the stage and he's talking. And Teddy comes out, and basically all he does is he announces, you guys obviously, don't like each other, so why don't we have a match later on tonight? It'll be Punk versus Del Rio in the main event. And yeah, so that's our main event for the night. We're going to get to that. After that, that's the end of that segment. They announce that Christian and Randy Orton are going to be going one-on-one later on, and they cut to commercial. We come back from commercial, and Punk is backstage in the locker room. And so he's back in the locker room, and up comes Heyman. And Heyman basically says to him, you've got nothing to gain in this match with Del Rio, but you have everything to lose. So, as your friend, I don't think you should do this. He says, let me go talk to Teddy, I can get you out of this match. But Punk says, no, I don't want you to get me out of it, I want to fight. I want to fight Del Rio. And he says, and Heyman continues, and he says he wants to be in Punk's corner one more time for the Money in the Bank match. He says, because you need somebody to watch your back because, the match is so chaotic and everything. And so he asks Punk if he can be in his corner one more time, and Punk declines. He says, no, I don't need you, Paul. I don't want you in my corner anymore. Whatever. We cut back out to the arena, and the Usos are already in the ring. And then the Rhodes Scholars come out. And Sandow's talking on the way to the ring, and he's talking about the Money in the Bank thing, of course, the SmackDown one. Rhodes says something, I don't really remember what, it doesn't really take all that long, but he says that, and then Sandow takes the mic back and he says, exactly, you're welcome. So, there's that. But anyways, they get in the ring and we got us a tag match. I didn't take too many notes on the match itself, but what ends up happening is Sandow gets laid out in the middle of the ring, and the Usos, one goes up on one corner and one goes up on the adjacent corner, and they do a big double splash. So they're both basically doing the Superfly Splash. So they hit that, they both land on Sandow, of course, and one of them pins Sandow, and the Usos win. Whoop-de-shit. All of a sudden, the Shield guys are up on the Titantron, all three of them. And they're saying that, you guys beating us with Christian the other week was a fluke, and, don't get cocky of it because we're still going to beat you in the long run and whatever. And, so yeah, they cut their promo on the Usos, and yeah, they talk them down, and Ambrose has a special message about Christian. He says, 1 out of 100 times you might get lucky and beat me, but those other 99 times I'm going to beat you. And so since you've already beaten me your one time, you better get ready for 99 losses in a row. And also, Ambrose essentially declares victory at Money in the Bank. He says he's going to win, and he's going to have that Money in the Bank briefcase, and he's going to have a shot at the World Heavyweight title. And in all honesty, that sounds pretty goddamn good to me. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'd love for Ambrose to have the Money in the Bank. Because out of all of the supposed future stars that are in this Money in the Bank, the SmackDown one, let's see, Rhodes and Sandow, I don't know if either one of them are ready for that yet, especially not Rhodes. Who the hell else is in it? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, Fandango is in it. Don't know if he's really ready for that yet. He needs to be built up more. Yada, yada, yada. Ambrose is really your best choice for the winner of this match. If they don't, they're fucking stupid. But so yeah, that's done and over with. They hype up the main event, you know, Del Rio and Punk. And they also showed a video package for the Usos. Now, I don't know if this was actually part of the actual broadcast here in the States, but the source that I have on the internet, there's a lot of these video packages that seem to take place either directly before or directly after commercial breaks. But anyways, there's this video package for the Usos, and then they also talk about... Oh, actually, it looks like, yeah, that video actually was in the broadcast, because after they showed the video package, they hype up Vicky's job evaluation on Raw this coming Monday, which is actually tomorrow. Well, technically today, considering I'm going to be posting this in just as soon as I get done recording it, and it's already 3 in the morning on Monday. But yeah, so, yeah, Vicky's job evaluation, blah, blah, blah. The Usos video package, Vicky's job evaluation. After that, they cut back to the ring, and Alicia Fox is in the ring. And then Kaitlyn's music hits, and she starts coming out with Layla. They recap the match that the two of these girls had, Alicia and Kaitlyn. They recap the match they had from Raw, in which Kaitlyn was able to win, of course, and AJ was trying to distract with the faked picture of Kaitlyn looking really fat, all that bullshit. So after the recap, they start the match, Alicia versus Kaitlyn. This match sucked. Alicia Fox was in it, so obviously there's no doubt. And Alicia dominates this match, for the most part. And that sickens me, because honestly, Kaitlyn should just be able to beat her like that. But whatever. Alicia's dominating. Kaitlyn starts to make her comeback, and AJ's music hits, and she comes out. And she's essentially just trying to distract Kaitlyn. She comes down, she skips around the ring, she's skipping all the way around and everything. And she goes right by Layla on the outside, and I'm like, why didn't Layla try to stop her or hit her or something? Don't know, but whatever. So AJ skips around the ring, and she goes all the way around until she comes back to the side of the ring where the aisle and the ramp is. AJ goes to get in the ring, but Kaitlyn drop kicks her through the ropes. And this is enough of a distraction. Alicia uses this distraction to roll up Kaitlyn for the win. She gets the 1-2-3, and Kaitlyn loses to Alicia Fox. Like I said, this match sucked. Finish was terrible. It was short. It's an Alicia Fox match. Can we stop using her? She sucks. Please. But anyways, after the match, Kaitlyn is pissed, obviously, because AJ just cost her another match. And so she chases AJ, essentially just through the curtain. Chases her through the curtain, whatever the hell. More hype for the main event, you know, Del Rio and Punk. And then they cut to a commercial. When they come back from the commercial, AJ is backstage looking panicked. Of course, it still seems like she's running from Kaitlyn. She comes across the Bellas, and the Bellas are trying to say something to her. I don't even know what. But they try to say something to her, and AJ's like, I don't have time for this. She tries to get away, but the Bellas are like, no. They grab her and they pull her back, and they're like, no, you're going to listen to this. And basically all they say is, we're coming after that Divas title. Okay, fine, whatever. AJ runs past them, and she bumps into Big E. And Big E's kind of laughing at her because she's running from Kaitlyn, and it is kind of funny. Although I can't really blame AJ for running. Yeah, so she's talking with Big E, and AJ is like, we gotta go get the car, we gotta get me out of here. Caitlin's slow, and it'll take her a while to catch up. You know, she's making fun of her some more. And Big E's like, well, what about Dolph? And AJ's like, oh no, poor Ziggy, he's got a match later, and oh, but he's a big boy, he can take care of himself, you know. And so she's like, come on, we gotta go, we gotta, you know, go get the car started, we gotta get the hell out of here. And she screams at Big E, you know, whatever the fuck. So whatever, they run off to the car, presumably, and they leave. We get another recap of Kane versus Orton from Raw with Daniel Bryan as the referee. They recap that, whatever the hell. And then they cut backstage to Renee Young, who is there with Christian and Randy Orton. And as I said, they have a match coming up. So having these two in an interview segment together at the same time just kind of sounds like a recipe for disaster. But it turns out it's okay, because all they basically do is they have a promo, and they basically say, I'm going to win the match, and then the other guy says, no, I'm going to win the match. And Christian brings up their past, as they do have a sort of long past where, you know, they had their feud going with the one more match and all of that stuff. And, yeah. But yeah, so they do that, they have the thing, they talk about the Money in the Bank match specifically since they're both in it, and they have their match later on. They cut back to the commentators, who introduce a Wyatt family promo again, or video I should say, not a promo. They do mention that they're saying, oh yeah, these guys are supposed to debut on Raw. Great, just shut up about them already, they suck. Anyway, so the video, they have the video, and then they cut to commercial. We come back, and Orton's coming out. So he comes out, and Christian comes out, and it's getting ready for their match, whatever. They start having the match. Nothing special here or anything. There's no promos or anything like that. But, so they start having their match. Again, I sort of took light notes on this because I'm trying a new thing with my notes. And, so anyways. But yeah, so... yeah, so they're having their match. Sorry if I seem a little scatterbrained. Like I said, it's 3 in the morning and I'm really tired. But I just got done watching SmackDown because I was doing something else most of the day. Anyways, so they're having their match. I'm sorry, again. They're having their match. Again, the light notes. Christian, okay, yeah, I remember how this happened. Christian, one of his signature moves that he does a lot is he'll get the guy throated on the second rope, right? And then he'll hit the opposite ropes, and he'll come over, and he basically jumps over the ropes, drops down to the outside of the ring, all the way down to the floor, and then he'll turn around and just basically bitch slap the guy while he's throated on the ropes. So he does this like every one of his matches. It's seriously like a signature move of his. So he goes to do this on Randy. He gets him throated, you know, yada yada. He goes out of the ring, and he turns back, and Randy moved. So, yeah. Christian gets back in the ring, or as he's going to get back in the ring, Randy grabs him and goes for the rope DDT, but Christian gets out of it, and I don't remember how in the hell exactly he got out of it or what exactly happened, but shortly after that they cut to a commercial. We come back, there's some back and forth action. Christian gets Randy down in the middle of the ring, and then he goes over to the corner and he's like, spear, he does that shit just like Edge did, whatever the fuck. Randy gets up and Christian actually hits the spear, but he only gets a 2 count off of it. Randy kicks out. Randy's then able to hit the rope hung DDT, and then he goes for the RKO, but Christian blocks it. He just basically throws Randy off. Don't remember exactly what led up to this, but Christian was on the top rope, and he goes to dive down on Randy, but Randy dodges it. It looked essentially like Christian did the flying stand, if you know what that is. It's basically like how it looks when you miss going for the double axe handle. You just jump down, and you land on your feet, and nothing really happens. But it looked like he was going for a move. But Randy goes under him as he's airborne. And so Christian lands and kind of stumbles a little bit forward, and he turns around, and as he turns around, Randy hits the fucking RKO, and he gets the 3 count, 1, 2, 3, Randy wins. The match was actually fairly decent. Again, these 2 guys can go, so it's not a surprise that they're going to be able to put on a decent match. So Randy wins. We cut backstage to the GM office, and there's Teddy Long again. And he's on the phone with somebody, but then you hear this banging at the door, the office door. And so Teddy's like, oh, somebody's banging on my door. He's talking to the person on the phone. He's like, somebody's banging on my door. I gotta go talk to him, so I'll call you back, playa. And so he goes, he tells the person at the door to come in, and it's Paul Heyman. And Heyman says, heard that you were looking for me. And Teddy says, yeah, I was wondering if you would be willing to be on commentary later tonight, guest commentator for the match with Punk versus Del Rio. And Heyman just immediately just says, no. He just blurts out, he says, no. But Teddy starts talking, and he says, I don't remember exactly what he says, but he essentially just convinces Heyman to just do the commentary like he asked. And so, okay, fine, Heyman agrees, and that's all well and good. More hype for the main event. They cut to commercial, and either before the commercial or after it, they do another RVD video. So whatever, they're still hyping his return. So they come back from commercial, and Ziggler comes out. He comes out, they show a recap. It's not so much of a recap. What they show is a recap of a little segment that happened on Raw, but I think it was only available over the WWE app. That stupid crap they keep trying to push. But anyways, what it was a little backstage segment with Ziggler talking to AJ about, Ziggler's saying, you're the Divas champ. You're above this kitty stuff with Caitlyn. You're bigger than this. So, let's worry more about helping me get the world title back. We can be power couple. I'll be the world champion. You'll be the Divas champion. We'll be power couple. All that good stuff. And that's basically all they show. So whatever. After that, Ziggler's in the ring, and he's got a mic, and he cuts a promo. And trying to remember exactly what he said. It was just basically how he's saying that, people call me cocky and arrogant, and he says, you're damn right, They say I'm a show-off, and he says, yeah, you're damn right, all that stuff. So, he cuts his promo, and he finishes it, and then they're like, okay, well, he's going to have a match, and I'm like, well, okay, who's it against? The 3MB music hits, again. Don't know why they keep doing this. But yeah, so the 3MB music comes out and they say, okay, it's going to be Drew McIntyre who's going against Ziggler. So they're coming down. Oh yeah. While the 3MB guys are coming out, we get another recap from Raw of, I don't know if it was McIntyre or if it was Slater, but it was somebody jobbed to Ziggler on Raw, and then the other two guys tried to jump Ziggler in the ring, and he used his quickness to get out of the ring and avoid it and everything. So they recap that, and then they cut to another commercial. They come back and they finally start the match between Ziggler and McIntyre. This was a decent match. Of course, both these guys can go, so it's not really much of a surprise they put on a decent match. So, yeah, there's that. They're doing the match. And again, I'm just going to be doing just light notes on this stuff. Right, so they start having their match. And the light notes, Okay. So they start having the match. I think it was going back and forth somewhat. But then, trying to remember what happened. I think Ziggler got thrown into the ropes. And as he comes back, he goes for like a Hurricane Rana, but McIntyre catches him up on his shoulders. And of course, Ziggler's trying to punch him to get him to let him down, but he doesn't. He takes him over to the corner, and he turnbuckle powerbombs him in the corner. So Ziggler gets to eat that. And McIntyre controls for a while. And one thing I had to make a note of is if you watch Ziggler's matches and you remember from when he was a heel, which was, pretty much his entire career up to this point, in just about every match he's been in the last few months, he'd have the guy in the corner and he'd come running at him and try to go for like a stinger splash. But he would never hit it. He could never hit the damn thing. They'd always move out of the way. I don't know. I might have made a note of that in one of his previous matches before. But so this happens again. He gets McIntyre in the corner, or McIntyre is in the corner for some reason. And Ziggler comes across the ring, but he actually hits the stinger splash this time. He actually hits it. I guess I just felt like noting that since he never fucking hits it. But anyways, again, this is the finish of the match. Ziggler ends up getting thrown into the ropes, and as he comes back, McIntyre catches him to go for like a tilt-a-whirl move, right? The tilt-a-whirl things, they flip him around and everything. He flips him around a couple of times, and I'm thinking as he's coming around, I'm like, okay, he's going to come up and he's going to grab dude's head and he's going to plant him with a DDT. No. He tilts him around a couple of times, and Ziggler just basically goes around, and he comes down, he lands on his feet, but he's behind McIntyre, so he just jumps up, grabs him, and hits the zigzag. So he hits it, And he pins him, and he gets the 1-2-3, and he gets the win. So Ziggler wins. And just like on Raw, the other two guys in the three-man band, they jump into the ring and they try to attack Ziggler. But just like on Raw, Ziggler's able to use his quickness to roll out of the ring, and he's cocky, he's showing off. But then you can see the guys, the 3MB guys, they're in the ring, and they're yelling at him like, "Come on, you pussy, come get us, come on," whatever. They, for some reason, they think they can screw with Dolph, which just ain't the case. But Ziggler's like, fuck it. He runs back into the ring and he dives in, and he's not really attacking them. They're not really able to attack him because he's rolling out of the way and dodging and all this shit. But he rolls back in the ring, and he's just basically playing like can't catch me or whatever, He rolls around and he's going around and just using that quickness to get away, and then he rolls back out of the ring again, and he's just showing off. He's having fun. Just laughing at the 3MB guys. This is hilarious, actually. But after that segment finally ends. After that, we get another recap of Mark Henry and John Cena. All that stuff. So we get the recap video. And then we cut backstage to Fandango, who is finally returning to SmackDown after the concussion. And he's, of course, there with Summer Rae. They're backstage, and they're coming up next, and then they cut to commercial. They come back, and Fandango comes out, and he gets his little Burning Man pyro thing above the ring again. He gets that. And I'm thinking, okay, so who's he going against? Justin Gabriel's music hits. And so Gabriel comes out. I'm like, okay. They start having their match. It's short, but it's actually still fairly decent. At the beginning, it's back and forth. It's essentially Johnny is countering Gabriel's moves, and every time he does, Johnny has to do a little dance, because that's his thing. He's a dancer, whatever the hell. And then I think Gabriel is able to do a move or counter a move from Johnny, and then Gabriel starts dancing. He's just mocking him, right? Whatever. Johnny gets thrown out of the ring somehow. I guess Gabriel just basically throws him out of the ring. But then Gabriel's like, ooh, he's on the outside of the ring. I can do one of my big, flashy, aerial dive moves. So he runs across the ring and he hits the ropes and he comes back. And as he's going to dive out of the ring, like suicide dive or whatever, Johnny's been doing this a lot recently. As Gabriel's going to come out of the ring, Johnny does this move where he runs up towards the ring and he jumps up onto the apron, and as he's jumping up, he does this it's basically like an enziguri kick. But he does this and he catches Gabriel right in the side of the head as Gabriel's going to dive out of the ring. So he kicks him in the head and Gabriel falls back into the ring, falls on his back. And so Johnny's on the apron. He gets up, he climbs to the top rope. He hits his big diving guillotine top rope leg drop. He hits it, and he pins him, and he gets the win. And after the match, Johnny gets a mic, and he corrects Justin Roberts, or Lillian actually, the ring announcer. He corrects him, he says, "No, it's Fandango." And as he's saying this, he's looking up at the Money in the Bank briefcase that's hanging overhead. More hype for the main event, which is up next. They cut to commercial. They come back, and Punk comes out, and Heyman is already on commentary. And then Del Rio comes out without Ricardo. They're still trying to say that after the beatdown he took from Ziggler the other week, getting his head scrambled by that guitar shot, they're saying that Ricardo's injured. But the truth of the matter is, Ricardo actually got suspended for failing the wellness policy. Now, I don't know what drug it was that he, what drug it was that caused him to fail the wellness policy. But yeah, the truth is he was suspended. But anyways, Punk is there and Del Rio's there. It's time for the match. And this match was actually fairly good. It's back and forth for the most part at the beginning. Punk almost immediately is able to get Del Rio in the corner, and he comes and he does the big running, charging knee shot in the corner like he always does. He hits the knee, and then he's changed up. It used to be a big, like, shining knee in the corner, and then he'd come down and cinch him for a bulldog, and he'd run out and he'd hit the bulldog. But he's changed that up lately. He hits the knee, and then he pulls him out of the corner by his arm, and it gives him a short arm clothesline. So he does this. And that normally sets up the big Randy Savage tribute elbow drop. So Punk goes up to the top rope, and it's looking like he's going for this elbow, and Del Rio rolls out of the ring. And then they cut to commercial. When they come back, Del Rio is in control. There's some stuff, yada yada. Punk goes up to the top rope, but Del Rio runs up and uses the ropes to springboard up to enziguri kick Punk in the back of the head. He gets a 2 count from that, whatever the fuck. They end up on the outside of the ring, and Del Rio throws Punk across the table, or over the table, I should say. And, Del Rio's looking aggressive and whatever the fuck, and he's still doing those kicks to the head like, the concussion stuff. But yeah, so he throws Punk over the announce table. And the announcers are all, they're all getting out of the way. They're like, we don't want none of this. Heyman goes off his headset. He takes his headset off. He's on commentary, so he takes his headset off. And he goes over to Del Rio, who's clearing off the announce table. So I guess he's getting ready to set Punk up for a table spot, but whatever. As he's clearing off the table, Heyman goes over to him and he's pleading with him. He's like, please don't do this, whatever the fuck. Del Rio, of course, being a heel, decides to just punch Heyman in the face. So he clocks Heyman and Heyman goes down, and the camera gets a good shot of it in the background as Del Rio does this. He clocks Heyman. You can see Punk in the background on the other side of the table, and he sees Heyman get clocked, and instantly you can just see Punk's expression change. He's mad. He sees Heyman gets clocked. He's pissed. And so Del Rio doesn't really see it coming. Punk is enraged by this, of course, and he runs up, he jumps up onto the announce table, and then he takes another step and he just dives down on top of Del Rio. Knocks him on his ass. And then he gets on top of him, just starts punching the shit out of him. He's punching and punching and punching. And, and then he picks him up, Punk picks Del Rio up, takes him over to, the barricade, throws him into the barricade over by the timekeeper. And it's about at this point where you hear the bell ring. And I mean, obviously, they've been out of the ring for a minute, so they got counted out. Both of them did. So you hear the bell ring, and Punk's like, what the fuck? And you hear Lillian go, the referee has stated that due to a double countout, This match is declared a no contest. That's kind of confusing because normally it would just be called a double countout finish. But yeah, so
You have a new quest.
double countout, no contest. Punk has thrown Del Rio back into the ring, and then he picks him up and he hits the go to sleep on Del Rio, knocks him out, basically, and then Punk goes over to check on Heyman, and Heyman's basically okay. He's, I was just trying to help you. I didn't want to see you get hurt and whatever. And Punk's like, okay, fine, whatever. And he picks him up, and they leave, and that's the end of the show. Yeah, so that's the end of the show. Not much to really comment on, other than I was thinking about this while I was watching Ziggler's match. And I just got to thinking about it. I think Ziggler needs a new finisher. The zigzag isn't a bad move. I just don't... It just doesn't seem like it would be all that devastating enough to be a finisher. But Ziggler does a pretty damn good super kick, like the Shawn Michaels Sweet Chin Music. I would say something like that, or maybe save that as like his desperation move. And you could maybe downgrade the zigzag to be more like a signature. I don't know. But I think Ziggler needs a new finishing move. I'm sure he could come up with something. But there's that, and... yeah. Not really much to talk about else about the show. I don't really know what else to say. The Money in the Bank thing. We still have another week's worth of shows to get through before we can get to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. It's a week from Sunday. Well, 6 days away, we'll call it, since it's already technically Monday. Yeah, so we have another week worth of shows to get through. Another Raw, another SmackDown. And if you want to count frickin' main event and superstars, yeah, I suppose you can count those too, but I don't really watch those. In any event, that was pretty much it for SmackDown. Nothing else happened. So... yeah. That was pretty much it for the show. Ziggler's match was good, of course. Punk and Del Rio was a good match. It just had a really bad finish. Like I said, I just hate these really bad count-out, double count-out, no contest finishes. If you don't want to give away a pay-per-view match on TV, that's fine. Don't book the damn thing then. There's no reason for Del Rio and Punk to feud at this time. Punk is in the Money in the Bank match for the WWE title. And... yeah, Del Rio's the World Heavyweight Champion. So Punk really has no reason to really give a damn. So, yeah, there's that. So, in essence, I just don't really get this. Like I said, if you want to or if you don't want to give away a pay-per-view match on TV, okay, fine. Don't book it. You don't have to do that. You could do something else. Yeah, so in any event, yeah. I'm sorry, I've just kind of been rambling. I'm really tired. My brain is melting at this point, so I've probably wasted too much time. I'm just going to call it an end for this video. I hope I didn't bore you to death too much. That was SmackDown for July 5th. 2013 from Kansas, somewhere in Kansas. I'm going to guess it was Kansas City. But anyways, that was it for the show. I'll be posting this in the next few minutes. And later tonight, I'll be doing the Raw video, of course, after Raw is over. So we will see you for that. So we'll see you next time.